Hey, welcome back to the channel. Today I want to do a quick review of Mark Batterson's Chase the Lion, and I want to do some more of these sort of book review videos because I've been reading a lot, and sharing these with somebody, whether through video or in person, helps me remember what I was going over, what content is in the book and what's useful, and that way I can share that with you if you're thinking about buying the book or that's on your to-read list. So Chase the Lion, and the way I'm going to do the review, you can tell me if it's helpful or not. I'm going to do basically a 3, 2, 1. So 3 things I loved about the book, 2 things or 2 areas where it could have been improved, and 1 actionable takeaway. Because I think everything you read should lead you to do something differently, or else you're just reading and filling your head with more and then not changing yourself because of it. So I think that's really important for every book you read. So first thing, the 3 things I love about the book. First, now a lot of the book is the personal stories from Mark's own story as a church planter and founder of a few different ventures. And I love this aspect of the book because it provides such a realness that sometimes, especially in motivational books, you don't really get. But Mark is tying every lesson he explains into a real life situation that either he experienced or one of his friends or family experienced. And so that just gives you really good source material and provides a really good setting for you to remember the things that he's trying to explain to you. So when he's trying to tell you, hey, your dream is a dream within a dream, here's how that looks like in my own life, in my own experience. And that provides something really tangible. The second thing I loved about the book is that he drills home the concept that faith is action. And now this is obviously something, scriptural, something that we hear in church, but to really think that faith is more than believing, and that when Jesus is calling us to take steps of faith, what does it actually look like? And for his own context, when he was planning a church, buying the coffee shop, helping missionaries, like those things required tangible, actionable steps, and those things were the testament to the faith he had. And so if in our own life, no matter what our dream might be, there are some actionable steps we can take right now that show we have faith that this is something God put inside us, and this is something God is going to pave the way for. Now, the third thing that I loved about his book is that he recognizes the interconnectedness of God's plan. And this is something I talk a lot about in the book of Abraham, the book of Jacob that I've written, because every dream is inspired by another dream. So Mark's idea for planting a church stemmed from his spiritual fathers. And then the people who have had the opportunity to work under him have built these own things that were stemmed from things he either said or did, and that influenced their life. And so in our context, in your context, the dream you have is some way shaped or formed by other dreams that have impacted you. People who pursued their calling and shared their vision, their journey, and something from that impacted you to be on the journey that you're on now. And in my own life, I can think through, different authors, different influencers who I see what they have done, the doors God has opened for them, and some aspect of their life and their ministry has impacted me and stemmed me on a different path than I was. And hopefully in the future, other people will see the journey I am on and was on, and God will use that to motivate their journey. And so the interconnectedness of what God is doing, there's so many dominoes working down, and just to step back and realize that, first of all, it makes you humble that you're part of this whole big thing, but then also gives you peace knowing that you're not responsible for it all, because God is already working 100 steps in front of us, and all these things are coming together even if we can't see the very next step for ourselves. Those are the 3 things. The personal stories Mark uses, the idea that faith is action and how he drills that home, and third, the interconnectedness of God's plan. Now, the 2 areas where I felt this book could have been better, could have improved a little bit, is, I won't give away the ending, but the last few chapters of the book were actually the weakest part for me. It seemed like he honestly could have ended the book a few chapters earlier, and it would have finished with a stronger punch, a more rich impact. I felt like the last few were kind of a rehash of things we already heard, maybe in a different viewpoint, and they just didn't really carry the weight. It was such a good book from beginning through the middle, and then as we get to the end, it just felt like it kind of ran out of steam. It's not that long of a book. Sometimes, when the book is 300, 400, 500 pages, you see that more often. But as a whole, the book itself was really rich, and because it was so rich, that's why I had a higher expectation for the ending. The second thing I thought it could have done a little bit better is that I wish he spent more time in the scriptures that he referenced. So a lot of the Bible stories that he's taking are from the Old Testament, primarily 2 Samuel, and he's pulling them up real quick, giving you just a breadth of context, and then going into a personal story or anecdote or lesson. And obviously that works for his style of writing and kind of the quicker pace of the book, but I always prefer, just for my own taste, I like them to go a little bit deeper, because I think that's where a lot of the treasure can be found. So even though you're showing me, even one verse from 2 Samuel, I think there's more he could have done with it to even prove his later point better. And that's not with all the scriptures he uses, just as, as kind of a rule of thumb, I wish he spent more time in there and less time kind of using that as a jumping thing, as a jumping board to go into his other stories. So neither of those greatly took away from the book for me. I think it is an amazing book. And so my last thing, the one actionable takeaway, is a really cool idea that he had, and it's basically to figure out how to include other people in your dreams and goals. And it sounds simple, but it's a little counterintuitive. Like, I have a bucket list, and so after hearing the chapter about that and reading through his reasoning, it made me go back through the bucket list and look, okay, how many of my goals actually included other people, and the ones that didn't, how can I make it bring a relational aspect to it. I really encourage you to read the chapter. I'm not going to do as good of a job explaining as he does, but basically, if you think through the things you're most proud of in your life, the accomplishments that mean the most to you, or the memories that you're most excited about, all of those have to do with people. And so when you're thinking through the things that are going to make you happy in the future, the things that are going to help you feel accomplished, feel like you are heading in the direction you want to head in, so often we leave out that aspect, the idea that people are so foundational to who we are and our happiness. And as we look forward to what we're going to do and become, we leave that piece out of it. And so by putting that piece back into it, it can, first of all, completely transform our motivations behind those goals. So some of the examples he used and that were on my own list were like traveling goals. So rather than just travel to this piece, who can you bring with you, or who can you see as part of that traveling thing? Like, bring a relationship into that goal, make that the focus of it. And suddenly the motivation can become a lot more, because not just a thing to check off, but it's a commitment to another human being, or it's an opportunity to give this person something they're never going to experience other than you making this goal a reality. So I really like that idea. It's definitely the biggest thing I'm going to take away from his book is, with every goal that I have, how can I implement it in a relational way? So I hope you kind of understand that. I encourage you to try to think through how you can do that for your own goals, whether they be business or fitness, financial, and so on. So that's kind of my thing, the 3 things I loved about the book, the 2 things that I would recommend for improvement, and the 1 actionable takeaway. If you like this format, go ahead and leave a comment below. I'm going to try a few different formats and future book reviews. I really appreciate you taking a few minutes to watch this. And if you haven't picked up his book yet, I highly recommend it. Mark Batterson is a fun writer. It reads fast. If you get the audiobook, he's the one who reads it. I always appreciate that. And so yeah, it's definitely a good book to think through your goals and your dreams through a Christian perspective and understand how you can fit God into your goals, but more importantly, how God has intended for you to be a part of what he wants to accomplish. So I hope you have a great day, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.